Good evening. Really
Hello.
excited about the opportunity to still be able to hold our annual meeting, that COVID did not interfere with this. It's the only time of year that we gather in mass with not only our staff, but our board, our volunteers, and the community. So I'm very, very happy that we are tonight beating COVID. So I want to spend a couple moments talking about this interesting new land that we have found ourselves in. We are experiencing COVID-19 and its aftermath, civil unrest, racial inequities, forest and tornado fires, and a wealth of other personal issues that are going on. And through that, an organization like WOARRIOR, the Philadelphia Center Against Sexual Violence, continues to do the work to ensure that survivors of sexual assault and sexual violence receive their due justice, receive the services that they're supposed to receive. And COVID did not interfere with that as well. And so, as many of you know, March 13th was the last day that WOARRIOR was in its physical offices in its entirety. And from that moment on, we moved all of our services to be remote without skipping a beat. And that only happens because I have the privilege and the pleasure to work alongside an incredible team of people that understand the necessity of our work, and we're innovative enough to quickly mobilize and use every remote fixture that was made available to us. And so to them, and to the people that I work with, I applaud you. So thank you so much for making it all possible. Thank you so much for the work that we do aligning with the mission of the organization. It is absolutely incredibly appreciated, and we can't do our magic without the work that we do together. So thank you very much. This evening is a wonderful opportunity for us to share our accomplishments. And it's sad that we only do this once a year, but we do, and we do it in the face of our board and our volunteers and our community. And so with that, I want to thank very much Congresswoman Mary Gay Scallon, Kate Schramm from the U.S. Senator Pat Toomey's office, Samantha Pearson, who's the Chief of Staff for the State Representative Mary Isaacson, for their registration and their attendance this evening. I also want to thank some of the partners that did register this evening to attend, and I hope they're able to make it at some time. Carol Tracy from the Women's Law Project, Melissa Wheeler Gerber from Access Matters, Farrah Parks, who's the Executive Director of Gender Justice Fund, which is formerly the New Century Trust, and one of our awardees of Sing Out Loud, if we ever are able to have a Sing Out Loud. Vanessa Fields, who is the president of Philadelphia Now, Nicole Millsap, president and CEO of Soldier of Love Foundation, and Annette Jenkins, coalition project specialist for Pennsylvania Coalition Against Rape. So thank you very much for your attendance and your registration, and I hope that you are able to hear some of the fascinating work that we are able to do with the organization over the last year. And I think that between March and today and all that COVID has done, I think 2020 counts for 2 years. And so, because all the work and all the effort that we put in to ensure that we can continue the work for the clients. And so with that being said, I'd like to share with you some of our wonderful accomplishments. So bear with us as we navigate the mysteries of Zoom. At some point there will be a glitch. Zoom just is not ready for us yet. And so Nina, if you want to share your screen so we can kind of pat ourselves on the back, that would be great. Thank you. Great. Okay. So as we look at some of our data, as you can see, there have been a number of reported rapes to the Philadelphia sexual SVU, sexual violence unit, between April and August. And that's the data that we kind of captured. And so we positioned that, or juxtapositioned it with 2019 data over the same time period. You could see that there is a decrease. And the decrease is not necessarily because there's been a decrease in reports, but we know that there has been that many people have challenges with law enforcement and making reports to law enforcement at this time. And also because of COVID and the quarantine and the stay-at-home orders, there appears to be a decrease. We know that has not happened. And we know that hasn't happened because many of our people are quarantined or shut in with their abusers, and therefore they're not able to make the phone calls that they're going to make to the hotline, and they're not able to make police reports as they would. And so although we saw a 16% decrease in our hotline telephone calls from 19 to fiscal year 20, we still were able to receive and provide services to 2,653 phone calls that came through our 24-hour hotline. And to that, in July of 2019, we were able to add chat and text to our cadre of programs that we have. And we had 78 telephone calls or chat and text to our that new program. And so we're really excited about people's ability to maybe not make the phone call, but maybe have access to chatting and texting. So that's been really important. And we are sure that in this fiscal year 2021, that we will see a continued increase in chat and text as well. Some additional highlights that I'm really excited about is that we serviced this year 2,133 adults in our therapy, and that's 345 children. And that is for a total of, of 2,694 individuals. We know those numbers are still relatively low, and we know that because individuals were not able to leave their homes during that time. We can agree that not only are adults in the home with their abuser, but so are our children. And we rely very heavily on our mandated reporters to provide us with information and reports about the safety of children. And so it is really alarming to us still that that school is remote and that those touches on those children's lives by service providers won't be there. And so we are concerned about our kids. We're concerned about our adults, but we're also more concerned about the children because of their inability to use their voice to save themselves and how they're reliant on adults to do that for them. And so we hope that in our work with education and training, that we'll be able to reach those mandated reporters and those adults that service youth so that we can get a better picture on what's going on in the lives of our children. We interacted with 216 significant others through our work. And those are the people that are the social network of the adults and children that seek our services. And sometimes we have people in our lives that want to help support us through the most horrific experience that we're having. And for that, we provide support groups to significant others. In total, that means that we provided 7,872 individual service hours to clients and 527 group hours through our support groups that we have. We hold about 9, and again, this is prior to March the 13th, about 9 support groups a week. And to that, we have 527 hours. So although we suffered a huge interruption of services between September and the end of the fiscal year, June 30th, we were still able to meet some of our expected outcomes that we wanted to meet and deliver services efficiently and effectively. As far as education, training, and our outreach department, we were still able to hold 455 primary prevention awareness programs to a total of 10,260 people. And within our community, we held 446 programs a total of 52, 62 people. And that also means that we trained 36 professionals and had 36 professional trainings, 468 people. And so again, we are still able to meet the needs of the community with regards to education and training and the plethora of trainings that we conduct throughout the year. We're really excited about the partnerships that we have and the connections that we have, and we are still called upon to do the work that we are set out to do. That means that our connections and our collaborative partnerships are really important to us. They're valuable, and we work hard to sustain them. And then finally, prior to March, we sat at 59 tabling events, health fairs within the community. So getting the word out about our services and ensuring that people know that we're here is very important to us. It's a critical piece of the work that we do. People learn about our organization through our outreach, through our social media, and through word of mouth. And you never take in that you know about WOARRIOR until you need us. And so we are very excited that we have touched the number of lives that we have, so that people can continue to pass the word around about our quality and effective services that help people and support people on their healing journey from their sexual violence experience. What's next for the organization? I'm really excited about all of the what's next pieces. COVID is a monkey wrench. And what's next for us regarding COVID is just continuing to support individuals in the ways that we can, remotely and or in person, and keep people safe and healthy, and continue to address the intersection of COVID, sexual violence, and social justice. Now more than ever, that is extraordinarily important, and we're focusing a great deal of our attention on that. We need to and want to broaden our strategic alliances with crime victim organizations throughout the city. One of the most important reasons, and we already work with all of the crime victim organizations, but what's really more important and more telling is people's perception about law enforcement, and that we know it's going to result in people not making police reports. What we do know is that rape is the most underreported crime by about 66%. And so although we may see decreases in numbers, they're off by 66%. And what we need to do is find other ways to interact with our victims and survivors so that we can continue to provide them with our free services that are open to everybody. And to do that, we need to be in places where victims and survivors go to report. And sometimes that's to the crime victims organization. We will also continue to utilize innovative strategies to reach victims and survivors of sexual assault. I'm all about making lemonade out of lemons, and COVID is some nasty lemons that were served to us, and we were able to make a delicious lemonade, and we will continue to do that. And so this has forced us to be innovative and force us to use our skill sets in totally different ways. And I'm excited about that. And so we will continue to do that and continue to reach people. And then we're really excited about our strategic plan for the next 4 years. And we are excited about the work that's in there, and that it is bold for us, and it will make us do some really different things and interact with the community in a totally different way. So we're really excited about what that means for us. And so now I have the pleasure of you seeing the rest of the team that I get to work with and hear their report backs from their departments. And so I'm really excited about all the work, and I will come back after everyone speaks and kind of just summarize what you all heard. So thank you very much again for attending this evening. And we'll turn it over to Levon Kennedy, and he could talk about Healthy Masculinity Initiative.
Hey, great evening, everybody. Hope everybody's well. It's definitely a privilege to be on here tonight, especially due to all the circumstances that Monique just mentioned. So just to hop right into it. Healthy masculinity. I'm really excited to present this to y'all tonight. So just for starters, the first thing that happened was we actually got a designated full-time project coordinator, which is myself. So that's a role that I've really been, striving for at War and really pursuing. It's one of the roles that I really take honor in having. And what that role is going to do is now we have somebody actually set in the position to actually plan out the vision of healthy masculinity. So um, in a nutshell, we want to align more men as allies against sexual violence, and we want to create a network of men who become these ambassadors or change agents of healthy masculinity. With the coordinator position being filled, we were able to refine some HMI's goals and purpose to shape the vision of HMI even more, make it more concrete. We also moved forward with changing the name from the Healthy Masculinity Initiative Committee because we had a committee of individuals who were involved with a lot of the planning for healthy masculinity. We changed that to Masculinity Community Advisory Board. It makes it sound a little bit more inclusive, in my opinion, a little bit more prestigious. And it makes more men around the city understand that this is not just something that is one track. Like, we're not just trying to eliminate sexual violence. We're trying to eliminate violence of all sorts. And we're just trying to, again, bring more men to the forefront in prevention and not necessarily and prevention and as well as intervention. We also, another thing I'm really excited about, we actually collaborated with Direct Services Department in the creation of a men's group. In all my years that I've been at War, I've never heard of a men's group being facilitated. And a lot of this men's group conversation started when Sid and I, a few years back, we went to a national conversation surrounding male victims, and it was a diverse array of individuals at the table. And again, it got me and Sid to thinking about how could we engage more men at War. So flash forward. Now that me and Amanda have been sitting at the table, actually, creating this thing, we have it starting next Monday. So that's really, really exciting about that's something that's really, really exciting. It's a whole new group at War. It expands our services. It helps us pull more men in and hopefully retain those men as well. So and also, sorry about that. I had my faces were in the way. Some other exciting things that happened. I had an interview with KYW News discussing the Me Too, the Harvey Weinstein case, and that was really, really. I really felt proud about that because again, I was sitting in the room with the city controller Rebecca Reinhardt, and I was able to, represent War, talk about what HMI is, and just speak about men's role in the prevention of sexual violence and some of the ways that we can again align ourselves as allies. Through some of the work that we've been doing with the Healthy Masculinity Initiative, I was also nominated as a change maker for KYW News for Women's History Month, which was also March. Unfortunately, the COVID shutdown, kind of stalled out the interview, but again, nevertheless, it was just really a privilege to be even thought of in that regard. And I also presented at the Men and Me Too conference, which again, that was hosted by the Men's Resource Center. So some of the some of these relationships that we created, um, they were already previously held, but there are some new relationships that were formed in here. Some of the older relationships that we have are People's Emergency Center, Lutheran Settlement House, North Central Victim Services, Men's Resource Center, and the Community Umbrella Agency, as well as the Mayor's Commission for African American Males. Some of the newer relationships that we were forming. And it's a lot of credit definitely goes out to Tyrone and a lot of the outreach that he was doing and a lot of the connections that he was making while in the community and making it a priority to discuss healthy masculinity, to discuss his role in it, to help people see the importance of men, but healing from sexual assault and men actually stepping up to fight back against this crime. So again, definitely big shouts out to Tyrone for that. And I also want to give a shout out to Joey from the education department. He also helped me out with a lot of the education and training. He came right on board. And a lot of that was on myself. Again, I would create most of the trainings with some help from Sid. Me and him would, brainstorm a lot of things. But again, Joey came on board and, feet hit the ground running. He understood where to go. He understood how to meet the people. Um, and he took and he just took off. So like I said before, I really want to give kudos to those men because they're not necessarily in my department, but they really helped me with this since they are men at war. They really do a good bang up job with pitching in and making sure that this vision gets gets brought to the forefront. So those other relationships that we formed that were new, which is JJPI. Historically, JJPI, they serve as sex offenders. However, they have a program called the BOSS program, which is Boys Overcoming Sexual Stigma. So I'm working with their project coordinator along with Tyrone with that program to hopefully at some point in time, if this quarantine gets lifted and things can kind of get back to some level of normality, we can have our first annual men's health fair. So again, a lot of things just to get the visibility of men and war out there and letting men know that they can come to war to seek services. We also have Educators for Consent Culture. That was a new group that's forming in the city. They reached out to me and offered me a place in their network. So, of course, I would say yes. We're if it's put consent culture. We're the rape crisis center in the city. We definitely need to be there. Also, we got 100 Black Men Philly as well as Project Dad. And as I said before, some things that we have on the table, just, thinking about it. As I said before, we have that focus group for male engagement and retainment. This focus group can be for significant others who've been at war. This could be for people who have been serviced as a client at war. Again, we want to figure out ways that we can, again, service men and help them come to another level of healing through our organization. Also, I just mentioned the Men's Health Resource Fair. Hopefully, at some point in time, we'll work out the kinks with that. Men's group, as I said before, that's starting next Monday, and also something that I'm really waiting to the top to come off with this. It's called Safe Cut. So this is a program to engage barbers as community ambassadors of healthy masculinity. So just in a nutshell, what we're going to do with that, we're looking to just recruit some barbers from around the city of Philadelphia, and again, train them in sexual violence, consent, and a lot of those topics in an effort to have them create a space within their barbershop, which is a safe space, so again, where young men can come in here and talk about things, and we won't discuss things that may cross the line of misogynistic, or things that may cross the line of boundaries, or any of those things of that nature. So we want more men stepping up and pretty much just checking other men, just letting them know that those things aren't acceptable here. So yeah, with that being said, I can't wait to see what 2020, 2021 got to bring. Yeah, and I'm excited. Let's do it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tyrone Melvin. I'm the community specialist for outreach. First and foremost, I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out your busy schedule to come here of all the fascinating work that WARR is doing. Throughout the year, I'm just going to take about 7 minutes of your time. So through the years, outreach staff has had the opportunity to have face-to-face contact with the community in various community settings. That includes table events, drop-off materials, education awareness presentations, and primary forms of communication. As we know, COVID-19 has made this a huge challenge for most of us, most organizations. Most of us are working remotely and using virtual platforms to conduct, host meetings, and to communicate these days. The outreach department continues to adapt to our community needs, and collaborations with other providers has been very crucial for us. Currently, outreach staff has responded by building relationships through Zoom meetings and establishing a new way of communicating through our outreach efforts. I want to just discuss some of our honorable wins. Uh, this year, our staff distributed materials and provided crucial information to all communities, including diverse communities such as immigrants, refugees, at-risk populations, the LGBTQ communities, and special needs people. The projected number for this effort was 400. We completed 430, and we saw 1,803 people that participated in this. A total of 7,427 materials and souvenirs were distributed. Our efforts focus mostly on preventing sexual abuse in the city of Philadelphia, and our continued mission of ending sexual abuse and contributing, trying to create safer communities. I want to talk about our health center efforts. This year, we were able to start partnerships with all 8 health centers throughout the city of Philadelphia. We completed 45 efforts, and in a total of 388 people participated. A total of 2,624 materials and souvenirs were distributed in patient waiting rooms. Our outreach team set up multiple tables in the waiting room areas, especially during the National Healthcare Week. During the National Healthcare Week, all centers were covered at the same time, and the community learned more about our services. We were also able to meet with a couple of the healthcare professionals, including the social workers in each center. This was crucial because they're the ones that see, the people that come in and day out, and it's important that we communicate with the social workers in a way that allows them to have all the information regarding WOARRIOR services. We also provided educational material for their clients. The staff encouraged them to use WOARRIOR Hotline Crisis Card whenever a client disclosed abuse. All materials were available in English and Spanish in each one of the health centers. And COVID-19 has been, made this a challenge to continue with these efforts. However, we continue to send, we continue to send all our information via email in spite of the COVID-19 setbacks. Some of our other accomplishments include our dealings with the Philadelphia Police Department. The fiscal year, our collaboration with the police department allowed us to connect with police officers to provide information about WOARRIOR services. A total of 101 outreach efforts for the Philadelphia police districts were completed. A total of 146 police officers, staff participated, and a total of 900 materials, including souvenirs, were distributed. As a result of this collaboration, outreach staff was called to support police officers during the intervention for a serial/rapist killer in the South Philadelphia area early 19. This allowed outreach staff to be able to distribute more information throughout the South Philadelphia area. This also resulted in survivors getting counseling using WOARRIOR services. This has helped us tremendously, and we're still in the community sharing those services. Outreach staff had an active presence at different police districts to promote and bring services closer to the Philadelphia's high-risk areas. As an alternative to hosting a meeting at our WOARRIOR location during this pandemic, outreach started connecting via Zoom with each one of the, I would like to say at least 3 of the police districts throughout the Philadelphia, the 14th, 12th, and the 16th district. These Zoom meetings allow outreach staff to invite other organizations into our space. And together we participated and shared valuable information and resources for the community of Philadelphia. One of our biggest accomplishments with the Philadelphia Police District and outreach was hosting a collaboration training called Enhancing Police Response to Sexual Violence with Victim Services of Montgomery County. We had various districts participate in this training, and the feedback for this was very, very positive. We didn't cover all the districts, but we're going to be reaching back out to the districts that didn't participate to kind of go over this training with them. I want to discuss some of our social media efforts. The projection for social media was 28 media efforts was completed. However, because of the pandemic, we had to participate in 5 more media programs that included 2 Facebook podcasts, with the programs called Afloat, a podcast for a podcast for a Latino immigrant audience. Also, fellow Latino radio programs that included 1 Zoom meeting with the Mexican Council in their safety department. All programming included a total of 25,022 listeners. The radio host, NFB Live interviewer, is Outreach's own director, Christina Perez. The program's overall goal is to invite the community partners and providers to discuss services available to the public and provide sexual assault prevention by providing information and promoting available services. This program is mostly in Spanish and offers culturally appropriate information to the Latino community throughout Philadelphia. The conversation focused on protective factors for preventing sexual violence, war services, LGBTQ, human trafficking programs, and etc., and the Men's Healthy Masculinity initiatives. Topics have also included rape culture, the feminist movement, sexual harassment at the workplace, and the immigrant advocacy and human rights. The radio has reached a local audience, but international listeners who actively participate in this meaningful discussion for Spanish-speaking people, places such as Latin America and countries like Spain. And lastly, in closing, I want to talk about some of our COVID-19 pivots. For the outreach department, a challenge during this early part of 2019 was the resignation of 2 staff members right before the COVID-19 pandemic took place. But we were also able to establish trust via the use of Zoom phone. Although we were able to establish trust via use of the phone, using Zoom, it has been a challenge. For most of us, COVID-19 information has been given verbally by Zoom, phone, or writing, or by email. This, we have limited access to the members in the community because we have not had the opportunity to do traditional outreach. Another challenge was to cancel many tabling events in the city because of the pandemic. The pandemic, as you know, started in the busiest month of the year, where typically most of our health fairs and community activities conducted in Philadelphia take place. However, outreach staff continue to promote the agency through the radio, Zoom meetings, phone calls, and emails. Our outreach department continues to adapt to the needs of every community throughout the city. Collaborating with other providers has been crucial. A successful accomplishment has been collaborating with the Drexel Department of Philadelphia Health, their community promoters, students, and health professionals. This program is led by Dr. Anna Martinez, who donated from Drexel University. As a result of this collaboration, we connected with 96 organizations and their representative. Outreach staff collaborated to create a website with information for all community members. Outreach staff provided 29 Zoom meetings to Drexel promoters and provided educational awareness on sexual assault and war services. This effort has been crucial because it has served as a vehicle in promoting our services in the neighborhoods. With this partnerships, we have been able to identify through Drexel's promotion, the incident of intimate partner violence in the community. As an intervention, we have equipped these promoters with outreach materials for them to share with the community. This collaboration also has enabled us to identify other community needs during this pandemic. Throughout outreach context, we identify how Latino parents are having difficulty identifying ways to protect their children from the dangers when using the internet quarantine. Outreach staff has been very successful in creating a program through Zoom to help educate caregivers and to prevent internet dangers in teaching caregivers about the benefits of using parental control tools. And that's pretty much all I have for Outreach's success story. Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's so good to see our staff, our board, our volunteers, and new faces on the call. So thank you again for everyone joining us. I'm Michael Tixon, WOARRIOR's Director of Development and Community Engagement. I started middle of the fiscal year in January, and I was super excited to build upon the relationships we had. Monique and I had a good game plan to steam forward with April and Sexual Assault Awareness Month, but then of course everything changed. So I'm very much motivated today by the strength of our organization and by the strength of our community and our ties with Philadelphia. Our community wouldn't be as strong as it is today without our warriors and especially our third-party event fundraisers. This past fiscal year, we had an increase in third-party event fundraising. That is fundraising that is completely initiated and coordinated by the public, organized from A to Z by supporters connected to WARR's mission. These are completely helpful and huge in alleviating expenses and the effort on WARR's end with our small but mighty team and budget. We have a list of a few fundraisers here, and I just wanted to shout them out from the University of the Sciences and It's On Us campaign, University of Pennsylvania's Interfraternity Council and their production of the Vagina Monologues, Penn's Graduate School of Education and then their entrepreneurship program, Jefferson University's Students Organize Against Rape and their Take Back the Night and Denim Day fundraiser, Interact Theater Company and their production of Man of God, including a speaker series that Monique was invited to, and Mrs. Jade A. Jones, owner of Lady in Red Skincare, donating a portion of her health and beauty sales to WARR. Also, we had over 40 different fundraisers ranging from Sierra's 30th birthday fundraiser to Kathy's Giving Tuesdays fundraiser. So thank you to all our third-party event fundraisers. Thank you to the staff who's supporting them. And if anyone is interested in thinking of ideas and how they want to support work, feel free to reach out to me. I do want to shout out one third-party event fundraiser, and that is Rebecca Aronow and her Feminist Flea Market and Craft Fair. Feminist Flea Market and Craft Fair features vendors and artists whose identities include women X, trans, non-binary, and gender non-conforming, and proceeds from the fair benefit local women X organizations. She hosted not just one fair for us back in December at Bachgar, but also an additional one in April, right as soon as we went into quarantine online on Instagram. She connected with her network to have us featured on Metro Philadelphia, on the cover right here, and she also connected with her group of artists to design a specialty limited edition Feminist Flea and WARR t-shirt with proceeds going to WARR, and they're still on sale, so I'll drop the link in the chat. She not only organized all these vendors and patrons, but she raised over $8,000 for WARR and donated that. So thank you so much, Rebecca, and thank you to the artists involved. Then last update from me is our upcoming WOARRIOR Walk Stepping Out Against Sexual Violence. This is our first virtual fundraiser next Saturday on the 26th that you could participate in any day and anywhere on that day. We're asking folks to get outside, safely and apart, of course, and step out against sexual violence and all the other injustices that our survivors are facing. It's a great opportunity to kick off fall, get outdoors and enjoy whatever physical activity you want to participate in and ease any stress or anxiety that's happening right now. We're asking walkers to register and donate a minimum of $70. $70 provides at least 1 hour of direct services support to our survivors. You could qualify for incentives like the ribbons behind me or our official WOARRIOR mask, individually packaged and machine washable. And we're $400 shy from our $5,000 goal, so with 9 days left. So I definitely know that we could exceed it. And just another highlight that I want to include about the walk, we're walking out and stepping out on the 26th because we're also honoring the 26 different volunteers who have stuck with us, gotten us through the quarantine, and help us manage our hotline. So thank you to them. Thank you to all the board members, participants, and staff who are raising money right now for the WOARRIOR Walk. And shout out to Sage, who's on the call, who's on the meeting right now, who shared her special story and is a super fundraiser. So join me, Sage, the rest of WARR, and all our WOARRIOR walkers next Saturday. I'll drop the link in the chat as well. So that's development. Feel free to contact me with any ideas that you have.
Hi, everyone. I am Rachel, the Director of our Counseling Services, and I'm here to talk about our amazing Direct Services team. If I had to place one word for this year, this most challenging year of my professional life, if not many of ours, I would describe this year and our staff as resilient. Direct service work did not have any lull during this time. In fact, it became more challenging and it increased. And it continues to be challenging and it continues to increase. But as we know, when we work with survivors, what is equally as challenging is equally as rewarding. And we feel that and we see that today, and we will continue to. One of the main accomplishments that I wanted to point out about direct service is that this year we were awarded a Van Am grant that allows us to bring back our yoga group, our most popular and one of our most wonderful healing yoga groups that we offer at WOARRIOR. And that's with a big support and help from Dina Stoneberg. So thank you, Dina. And it also allowed us to bring on a new role in the Direct Services Department. So as we continue to expand this department and find innovative ways to serve the community, we continue to add more and more groups. And a natural progression of that is to have a clinical group coordinator. And we were very happy to be able to fill that position with a graduate student that was very expertly trained by Christine, who was her graduate supervisor. Kiana Voorhees is now our clinical group coordinator, and she oversees the coordination of all of our foundational groups. We do a lot of group at WOARRIOR. Right now, we're shifting all of them virtually. And not only that, we're looking to continue to add more innovative groups like the yoga group. So we're very happy to be able to bring that back to WOARRIOR, one of our one of the jewels of the services that we provide.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lakeisha Anthony. I am the Senior Education and Training Specialist at WOARRIOR. And the Education Department had a lot of issues as well in reference to changing things for COVID, but we did not stop a beat. We did not miss a beat at all. The Education Department focused many of our efforts on the community and community-based prevention and training the community and also engaging those who provide care to the community. And we did that by training different groups such as the SVU on trauma-informed care and LGBTQ affirming care, as well as a big focus on relevant and current events. So as the Education Department, we've been ensuring that we focused on these particular current events like the R. Kelly scandal and case, which impacted the community greatly. And we provided education services to the community during that time to ensure that we didn't see girls in our community end up like the girls that experienced harm by R. Kelly. We also expanded our efforts in ensuring that we connected with people like senators and those who are in legislation, and really seeing the connection between advocacy and education by educating those individuals to let them know how this could actually impact and change our world. So what we did was we testified and had a big implement in advocating to expand the statutes of limitations for victims and survivors to obtain justice. The civil statute of limitation was 2 years, and it got stretched to the 30th birthday of individuals. And also for the criminal statutes, it was also from those ages 12 to 20, those victims from ages 18 actually to 23 received longer time for their criminal statute of limitations. And it also eliminated the statute of limitations for children under the age of 18 to age 55. And if anybody knows about childhood sexual abuse, we know that the average age for someone to come forward is age 52 for a childhood experience. So we got to allow them to actually move that a little bit longer for the criminal statute of limitation. And for the civil statute, it got pushed to their 30th birthday. So ultimately, the education team has not stopped. We have been steamrolling and ensuring that we're providing community efforts, ensuring that we are providing the community with education and prevention methods and tools to ensure that we end sexual violence and that we take care of the individuals who have actually experienced sexual violence in our city.
So, wow. It's no wonder why we're exhausted. We've been doing some phenomenal work as an organization. As I started out by saying very early on in this meeting, I can't do it alone. I don't do it alone. I have a wonderful, wonderful team that I work with, and I'm very excited about all the work that we do and how we have managed to still be able to meet survivors where they are and still be able to perform trauma-informed care to our individuals. We've done a lot. There's so much more that needs to be done. We can't do it alone. We can only do it with the help of everybody that's on this call right now, listening to our information. We can't do it without our community partners, our elected officials, and we certainly cannot do it without our volunteers. And so Sid is going to speak to you about our volunteers. So Sid, take it away.
Sure. First of all, I want to say, there are a few volunteers here. I see Anna Maria, I see Robin, I see Joseph, and Lila and Rebecca also put in their time a while back when they were volunteering. And yes, I will get to that. So normally during this time, we do a little bit of an award ceremony. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that this year. I do have a couple of plaques I need to get made up though. So once things reopen, those will be coming your way. So 2020 has been a tough year since March. We've thanked doctors and nurses and first responders and store clerks and postal workers and all these other services that have been provided for us through this time. However, I haven't seen anything where volunteers and the vital services that they offer have been thanked in some collective way. And I'm not referring to just WOARRIOR here either, I'm talking about across the country. At WOARRIOR, our volunteers are not just faces, they're not just voices on the phones, as you can see their faces right now, a few of them. But they are people who are affected by the same things that everyone else is affected by. They're worried about their loved ones. They're worried about their jobs and their bills. They're worried about whether or not their children are going to be going back to school. They're worried about where their lives are going to be in the coming months. They were hurt and angered by the deaths of Stephon Clark, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and so many others. But in spite of all of this, since the beginning of quarantine, the volunteers have put in an amazing 2,500 hours in service to other people. Just to be clear, this is not for the entire year. This is just from March 16th, when we shut down, to June 30th, the end of the fiscal year. In 3.5 months, 26 people gave 25 hours of themselves. There was no incentive other than the opportunity to help others. So despite everything that's going on, I want us all to take a little bit of time in our day-to-day lives to reflect on this and just take a moment to put the stresses and outrages and worries about everyday life to the side so that we can be grateful for having people like our volunteers in this world. Now, the reason that it says a very special thank you to Anna Maria is because Anna Maria started in the winter. We weren't able to have SAC training in the spring because of the shutdown. But since she started, going up to the end of the fiscal year, she did 676 hours. That is, putting it this way, the total for the year was a little over 5,000 hours that volunteers put in. It was 5,023 to be exact. Almost 13% of that is just from this one person, Anna Maria. Robin, she is going to give you a run for your money in terms of hours. Robin is also, I need to give a shout out to Robin as well because she has been here for 10 years now. And she used to hold the record for the most number of hours. I stopped counting her hours somewhere around 5,000. I just felt like it didn't matter anymore. She was just part of WARR at that point. But yeah, I mean, Anna Maria, it's great to have you on board. Joseph, you are at 99 hours. Get that extra hour. Get into the triple digits. That's all I have. I just want to say thank you to everybody, and for us all to recognize where a lot of this work comes from. You know, we as staff, we get paid to do this, but these guys, they have other jobs. They have other things they need to do, and they take time away from their jobs and their schools and their family and their loved ones to do all of these hours on the hotline. So thank you.
Well, everyone, let's give ourselves a round of applause. We worked hard this year, as we do every year. So thank you very much to each and every one of the people that are on the phone for coming out this evening to hear about the work that we do and to celebrate with us. I think we're pretty great. And thank you for allowing us to come into your space this evening and so that we can tell you how great we think we are. We are the only rape crisis center in the city of Philadelphia, and we have a yeoman's job to ensure that that we reach people where they are and that we journey with them on their healing journey and their healing travels, so that they can return to their authentic selves, whatever that was. We don't give people a voice. We help them find their voice that was taken from them during that act of violence. And so we thank you very much for supporting us. Thank you very much for supporting our walk. We absolutely really appreciate it. We will see you next year. We're in the process of formulating our hard copy /PDF of our annual report, and it will be out to you in the next couple of months. So if you need me, you know where to find me. I'm right here. Thank you very much, and have a great rest of the evening and rest of the week. See you next year. Good night,
Bye, everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.